Don't worry about it. You're good.
Okay, do we have any like headphones that we can? Oh,
Yeah.
are these connected?
Hello. Oh.
Is it all connected? Mine's going through.
Yeah.
Okay. So first question I have about you is kind of I guess how did your parents do homeschooling? Like what did you really do?
Yeah, there was a lot of bouncing back and forth between curriculums, and I think that my mom was definitely the more adamant about homeschooling. I'll tell a story on how it kind of like started. So they called Holton, right? And they're like, oh, so they lived in this little town, right? It's doesn't have its own public school, kind of far from any public school, honestly. And well, my mom, she called this school, and they were like, if you want to bring the kid in, we can sign the papers. You're just responsible for getting them out there. We don't have a bus route that goes there. My mom says, okay, fine. My dad comes home from work one day. My mom gets a new idea. She goes, what if we just homeschooled them? And my dad laughed. My dad thought that was funny. Right? And now that I look back, I thought it was funny too. I'm just kidding. No. But my mom was like, no, I'm being serious. And my dad smiled, just went, oh, you're being serious, right?
Full smile fade.
Complete smile fade, right? And so then my mom started homeschooling, started with my older sister. You know, if she was in first grade, then I would have been in pre-K going to kindergarten.
Mm-hmm.
So my older sister is 2 years older than me, so that's how that worked out. She had us in these co-ops in Topeka where we'd go on Fridays and every now and again a Wednesday or something to go and with a bunch of other homeschool kids, and that's kind of what we did there. We had these like science classes, PE classes, stuff like that, right? It was just like a morning activity thing. And I remember there was a lot of bouncing between curriculums, and she did it well. But after a while, eventually, I think I grew out of that system. After a while, it stopped being about my mom teaching me, and it more of my mom getting the funds for other things to teach me, you know?
So like at a point they just needed new things. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, Spanish class, for example, they did this thing where my mom used to actually just straight up just say this word in Spanish, here's what it means, yada yada. She would actually try to teach me. But after a while, she got this one program, I forget what it's called, but it just sat me down in front of a computer, and this guy just spoke Spanish to me for like an hour.
So it went from almost being in the classroom, even if your mom was the teacher,
Yeah.
it was like a classroom situation, to more of online just programs.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly. And, my mom used to actually walk me through, the math textbooks and stuff, but then that was turned into an online deal too. And then I remember my 7th grade year, I was put into an online program with a school out at Hutchinson, Kansas, right? And, it had a similar house system to the school we currently go to that had a couple years ago, similar house system, and we'd meet on like Zoom calls and whatnot. But it was still like, it was obvious we were all homeschooled kids. You know how homeschooled kids act?
Oh geez, yeah.
Oh man.
And I think that right there can just be its own negative for homeschooling.
Honestly, yeah. Like, you don't learn social skills or anything.
For some context, the house system that we have is kind of like Harry Potter, where we have a point system and everybody gets separated into their houses.
Right.
Yeah, so you're saying that like it kind of moved from a homeschool environment, almost like a one room schoolhouse,
Right.
where you're learning about new information, and it moved more towards that kind of towards just online school.
Yeah.
And that just wasn't working for you?
No, and my sister, being a freshman in high school at the time, she wanted to do FFA with another school, and they said, hey, you're just going to have to come in and do this, whatnot, with Jackson Heights, the current school, and do all that, and just kind of, you're going to have to go to the school if you want to do FFA. And my sister is like, yeah, that's fine. I'll go to the school. And so after my sister left, that was my 7th grade year, I was very lonely for a semester. Yeah, until I cracked, and then I went to public school.
Oh,
Yeah.
so that's why you came second semester.
Yeah, it was because my parents were like, okay, this whole thing with the online program in Hutchinson, it's not working.
Hmm.
And my mom one night was like, hey, we're just gonna send you to Jackson Heights, and I'm like, yes.
Finally.
I know, right?
Yes.
Because I'd always wanted to go to public school for a long time because I knew my social abilities were
Yeah.
not great.
Dwindling.
Yeah, and so I was like, I need to. This is just gonna have to happen. I said I'd love to do it, but it's also a necessity, you know. But I never really wanted to bring it up to my parents because I knew my mom had the passion for homeschooling and whatnot.
Yeah.
Right, and I didn't want to like leave her in the dark with it and just abandon that, you know.
But it wasn't giving you what you needed.
But it wasn't giving me what I needed. So,
So were you guys able to? I know that some homeschooling groups do like activities often, and they kind of so that they still get some of that social interaction without almost what some people would call uh, the tarnishment of
Right.
public school.
yeah.
And so, were you guys able to do any of that, or was that like something that you did have that kind of faded over time?
So I guess what do you mean by tarnishment?
Sorry, I mean like no, I don't mean that. I mean, did you get some social interaction through like activities or other groups that you could have been a part of?
Oh yeah, I mean I went to church groups. I played baseball, stuff like that. But I really felt like even with all those activities, it didn't give you the same, like, yeah, you're doing these activities alongside your peer Bible study, you're doing athletics, stuff like that, but at the end of the day, you weren't learning alongside those same kids, and so you don't even know what level of education some of these kids are on, right? Like, I remember my 7th grade year, I had like a 10th grade reading level, but my math level was like 2 years below, like...
And that never changed.
Yeah, you're right. It never did. Yeah, but
No, I'm just messing with you.
it's a little true. Yeah, but it's one of those things you can't keep doing it forever. I feel like we were kind of beating a dead horse after a while with staying home, and I mean the pandemic was a big factor of that too.
Yeah.
So that just kind of locked us into homeschooling even more.
Mm-hmm. So then my question for you is that do you think that you kind of, it seems like you're saying that you guys were okay at the beginning whenever you still had that kind of almost the passion where you got your mother and your parents were still interacting with you, and then it kind of faded into more technological, right?
Right.
So would you say that that kind of interactive style, if you can keep it up, and I mean, a lot of parents can, I mean, especially in this, we've got the 2-parent household now, both of them are working.
Right.
And so would you say that if you can keep up that the school, actual classroom kind of situation, do you think that could work? Or do you think that there's still just too much lacking?
At the end of the day, I've experienced enough public school to realize, yeah, I want to stay here and I want to send my kids to, a public school, or if I somewhere with other kids, right?
Yeah.
And I think if it worked, I think if they stayed with that, and I never went to public school in the first place, I think I would still say yes. But since I've experienced enough of the social interaction of public school, I don't know if I would keep with it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you just don't get enough and you don't get enough social interaction.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
And my little sisters are the same way. Like my 8-year-old sister, they're still homeschooled by my mom, and every year we go to enrollment, and my little sister is like, "Hey, I want to go to public school." And my mom, I remember this year, my mom shut it down. She just said, "I don't want to talk about it right now." And I go, "Oh, okay."
Ooh.
Yeah, and so I looked at her and I was like, "Oh, I feel so bad for you," because she is feeling the same thing I was feeling, like, "Oh, I know my social interaction is not great. I could get better social interaction here." But I think my mom is still trying to keep the passion alive of homeschooling, which I get it, but I don't and it could be right for my youngest sibling, who's 5 currently. We don't know her yet. She's not even in the 1st grade, so
Yeah.
that could be different for her. But for my 8-year-old sister, my 9-year-old sister, I think it's definitely
Time to switch.
it's time to switch. And not to dog on my parents at all, but I think they're kind of beating a dead horse, you know?
Nothing against them. You just think it's time to switch?
I think it's just time, yeah.
Okay. Thank you. This was Zach Self that I interviewed. He's
Thank
a
you.
classmate of mine. Thank you for coming by, Zach.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. Was that good?